How's it going, guys? Still June 8th, 12:33 p.m. here on the East Coast. So this one's going to be titled Don't Be Afraid to Share Your Knowledge. Um, Especially for the younger crowd who may think they're out of place sometimes, but I run into this in my own life from time to time where I choose to keep my mouth shut about certain things just to let people kind of think or do whatever they say they want to do. Even if you think that it's a terrible idea, sometimes I let people learn from their bad experiences so they can learn from it. Sometimes people don't want advice anyways. They're just out there to talk to you just so you'll listen. And don't necessarily or aren't necessarily looking for feedback. So you have to kind of judge a conversation for what it is and see um, if you can offer some sort of intellectual feedback that might be able to help them. But I'll give you two examples that happened. One for me yesterday, and then one over the weekend. The first one that happened was about my wife, and she's having the doctors told her that she needed to put on a little bit more weight to ensure that the pregnancy goes as best as possible. So she was having a little bit of trouble adding weight, and I know in her mind she thought that that was probably a good thing to have happen. That, to try to stay on one lean side, she was trying to eat as healthy as possible, drink as much water as possible, and kind of stay healthy. That's what she did for her first pregnancy, and uh, she thought we had a very healthy and happy baby now, so she thought that that would be all good and well for carrying twins, and that's not necessarily the case. She has to add weight, and at a minimum of 20 pounds uh, to have an effective and healthy pregnancy. It's just there can be some more complications that aren't necessarily necessary um, if the weight isn't added. So she was having struggling with eating as much, and we did speak to the doctors about it, and their kind of recommendations were to try these different things, and I kind of added to the repertoire of what she was already doing. And it was something that I had tried when I was trying to gain a bunch of weight when I was in weightlifting. Granted, it's two completely different circumstances. One's weightlifting, one's giving birth or carrying a pregnancy, but the end goal is the same in my opinion. So I gave her, kind of my recipe for success for putting on a bunch of weight. Granted, it was a bunch of weight over the course of a couple of years. She honestly has a couple of weeks to put on this weight, so I gave her my recipe for doing it, and we stopped over and at a GNC and got some information and bought some products that would best help her because I wanted her to get the stuff that would help her as quick as possible. Now, I can't tell you, I don't have an update as to whether she gained a bunch of weight or not. I can just tell you based off looks, it looks like she has, but again, she's going to be growing exponentially now in the later part of her pregnancy, much quicker than a person who's carrying a single baby. So, but I did give her, my two cents on what I had done in the past that helped me gain a lot of weight effectively and healthy. That's the other thing. It's not to do this unhealthily, not to go out and eat 15 cheeseburgers and a bunch of French fries. Obviously, you want to do it. You want to eat more dense foods like avocados and things of that nature that kind of stick to you, but have a healthy regime to it. And then you have to be concerned about the sugars because you don't want to overdo that. So we went kind of the supplement route in addition to eating as well. And, I kind of spoke to her about it, telling her that she has the recipe for success. All she has to do is gain the weight. It's just a matter of doing it and figuring out how to do it effectively and safely to best gain the weight. So, again, I gave her my 2 cents on it, and we'll see if it's helping. It looks like she's increasing weight, but again, I can't tell until she hops on the scale. And some people say not to use a scale, not to make yourself aware of that. It depends on how she feels. But that's what the doctor is going to measure her success by. They're not really measuring body fat every time we go in there. They're putting her on a scale and taking, that's the easiest way to measure if somebody's putting on weight is they should be gaining weight. So again, I'll keep you guys posted as to that. The second example has to do with my mom and her a situation that came up recently for her yesterday where she's renting a house at the moment. They're going to be putting that house up for sale. So she, in turn, has to find another place to live. And the person that she was talking to came there, a realtor, came there to look at the property. Kind of told her what was going on, and she told them, that realtor, kind of that she's going to be looking for another place to live. So it was an opportunity for him as well. So we ended up going to look at this place. She fell in love with it, and long story short, she was going to rent initially. And I said, why do that? When banks have made it, a lot more simple these days. It's not like how it used to be. We used to take offers to people, and then get approved, and then sign a deal. Nowadays, it's you go to the bank first, you get your pre-approval letter for the amount you qualify, and then you take that offer to a house that you have an interest that's up for sale. That's just the way I see business being conducted nowadays on the real estate end. I may be off a little bit, but that's kind of the tactic that I have and that my friends have used, that I've talked to who have recently bought houses. So with that being said, I talked to her. I sat down, talked to her. I said she's got nothing to lose by applying for a loan and seeing if she can get qualified to purchase this house. I felt like it was within the price range was in the realm of her possibilities, and lo and behold, they gave her an opportunity, a game plan to be able to purchase a house, which is, which she's very excited about. But if it wasn't for me opening up my mouth and presenting that option to her, she may not have thought of it. My stepdad as well, they may not have thought of that option because they were just so used to their existing circumstance that they would believe that that's all that was meant for them, was to be able to rent for the unforeseeable future. But I told her it doesn't hurt. You still at the very least can rent the house, but why not own it for a little bit less than you possibly pay in rent? And they gave her the numbers of figures, and it was less to own it. Even with taxes, insurances, and everything, than to rent it. So, again, I thought for her situation it was a win-win. Why not take a chance out and try to get pre-approved for a loan? And they did it over the phone in a matter of minutes, just as I thought they would. Using obviously credit scores, her information, income, debt ratios, and things of that nature, and they gave her a game plan to be able to purchase a house, which, in my opinion, is an awesome thing. Now, that's not even something she was considering, nor would have considered unless I opened my mouth. And you have to sometimes be willing to do that and step out on that edge, even if you're a little uneducated in the thing. What I have recently done a lot of education on the mortgage side because I'm looking to buy a house here in the future myself. So I prepare myself to no end whenever it comes to getting mortgages. And since I'm going to be doing a VA home loan, I just like to see how that compares to fixed 30-year regular type of mortgage where you have to put 20% down, or FHA where you have to put 3.5% down. There's just a lot of different mortgage options out there. ARMs that are adjustable rate mortgages that have a good interest rate in the beginning, but don't necessarily have a great interest rate on the back end. And it just really depends on what you're planning on doing, if it's going to be your primary residence or something of an investment property. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I had done my fair share of research over the last couple of nights prior to my mom even asking me. And it's funny how things like that end up working out. I was doing research for my own benefit, but you never know how the research that you do might be able to affect others and their benefits. And when you're able to help out a family member in that respect, and for things to work out for them in that manner, it kind of makes you feel good that you understand what it is you're talking about, and that you can provide that that help to another person. It just makes you feel good. The other instance was sometimes people look for an easy way or an easy answer out, and it may be the path of least resistance, and that doesn't necessarily make it the right path to be on. Sometimes a path with a little bit of resistance, such as calling up your bank to figuring out if you can be pre-approved for a loan, or yeah, that requires more work than just agreeing to rent the house, and it's going to require some more effort. But is that path of greater resistance going to be worth it in the long run? And that's something that you have to think about as you make of these big decisions, because buying a home, and essentially deciding what to put in your body when it comes to my wife's situation, and deciding what to eat for the very health of the children that are inside of her, can be big decisions to make, and you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. But both uh, both situations required a path of greater resistance and not the easier path of less resistance. And thinking about that, sometimes that applies in life in general. Sometimes you can take the easy way out and go get a job working for somebody, and go get your education and get a job working for somebody. But why not take the path of greater resistance and essentially work for yourself, doing whatever it is that you love? Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get it started, but will the payoff in the end be greater? And will the experience in the end be greater? And we be able to leave that, whatever you build, to your family, rather than working for somebody else's dream where you're not able to leave anything for your family, such as like a business or an empire. There's just, to me, a lot more that can be done on an in an individual person, but it requires some greater resistance to be able to push through that. But if you can do it on the small things, like deciding what to eat, and renting versus buying, and just seeing what you qualify for, um, then you can do it on the bigger things like running your own business, and that's just the start of it. And there's so much more that you can do if you take that path of greater resistance, sometimes. And it doesn't always mean that the path of greater resistance is the right way. Sometimes that is the wrong way. But you have to use a judgment call and use it to, just think logically about it. Is it going to require me to do some more research and maybe some time and effort that could have a huge payoff in the end, like for my mom owning a house versus renting and putting money towards something that she's not gonna own? That to me is worth it. That risk to benefit is absolutely worth it. Because to me, it was a win-win situation where even if she couldn't get qualified for the house, she could still rent the house, and maybe if her situation improves in the future, she would have the option to buy. And that's something that I told her, if she decides to rent, to put in her lease clause, is an option to buy the house at any point in time. And I got a chance to speak to the realtor as well, and we kind of saw eye to eye on a couple of different things, and he made sense of the situation, as did my parents, and as did I. So, but if it wasn't for me, again, opening my mouth and kind of putting my 2 cents in there, sometimes you're depriving the people around you of the information that you have, and for no reason other than to keep it to yourself. And I think that if you just share that information with people and you don't know how it may be able to benefit even your immediate family around you, that could be it could be a great thing, and something that you can see flourish and develop and grow from like a seed you planted into a flower that's fully bloomed. So again, that'll be it for this vlog. I hope you guys got a lot of good information out of this one. But I mean, don't be afraid to speak your piece whenever it comes to a subject, whether you're fully educated on it or not. Maybe some of the information you have to offer is better than the information that person or that group of people has to go off of. And you don't know how you can change or impact some person's life with only a few words or a couple sentences. So again, realize the importance of the knowledge that you do have, and don't be afraid to share it in a setting that someone challenges you or challenges your intellect. Don't be afraid of that. The information that you have learned over the course of your life, even if you're at a young age, is still important information that can be applied on a couple different facets. And know that information is of importance. But I appreciate you guys watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. I still have a couple more to put up, and I will see you guys on the next one.